When you hear the name Ibrahim Traoré, it might just sound like another name in Africa's long history of struggle and change. But if you look closer, if you really see the man and what he stands for, you realize there's something different, something raw, powerful, and deeply human about him. He isn't a leader who hides behind luxury or bureaucracy. He's the kind who stands shoulder to shoulder with his people, face to face with danger. And at the very heart of that story lies something extraordinary, his elite bodyguard force. Now, these aren't your typical men in suits and sunglasses, standing quietly behind a politician. No, these are warriors, fierce, loyal, and forged in the fire of survival. They are the kind of men who would rather die than see harm come to their leader. Ibrahim Traoré's bodyguards aren't just protectors. They are symbols of strength, brotherhood, and a devotion to a cause bigger than any single man. Most of these men come from the same background as Traoré himself. They were soldiers once, men who have seen war up close, who've walked through dust and smoke, and stared into the eyes of their enemies without flinching. They don't wear fancy uniforms. They wear scars, experience, and an unshakable sense of purpose. Their training is brutal, intense, and secretive. Every single member of this elite force is handpicked by Traoré himself. They aren't chosen for political connections or who they know. They are chosen for loyalty and strength. These men move like shadows, always close, always alert. Whether Traoré is addressing a massive crowd or traveling through rugged terrain, his guards are there, eyes scanning every corner, hands steady, ready for anything that might come. But what's truly fascinating is how personal the bond between Traoré and his guards really is. He doesn't treat them like subordinates. He treats them like brothers. He eats with them, he talks with them, and he listens to their stories. This isn't just a professional relationship, it's a family built through shared struggle and shared dreams for their nation. That kind of connection builds something that no amount of money can ever buy: absolute trust. And in a world where betrayal can come from any corner, that trust is everything. There's something almost cinematic about how these men operate. When they move, it's with a chilling precision, quiet, efficient, and deeply intimidating. You can feel the discipline in the air around them. They don't need to say a single word. Their presence speaks for itself. Anyone who has ever been near Traoré in public knows what that feels like. That silent but powerful aura of protection. These aren't bodyguards who hide behind their leader. They form a living wall around him, yet they move with such harmony that it almost feels like a single entity, breathing together, acting as one. And what makes this even more powerful is that Ibrahim Traoré himself doesn't separate his own courage from theirs. He's not afraid to stand in the open, to face the people directly, to walk among them without a hint of fear. That confidence comes not only from his own bravery, but from knowing that the men around him would give their lives without a moment's hesitation. Each of these bodyguards understands what Traoré represents: a new wave of leadership in Africa, a kind of leadership that challenges foreign control, that demands dignity and true independence for its people. So, for them, protecting him isn't just about guarding a man, it's about guarding a vision, a hope that Africa can finally stand tall on its own 2 feet. This is why their loyalty runs so much deeper than just following orders. It's rooted in a powerful belief. There are stories told quietly among the people of Burkina Faso about these guards. Stories of how they've faced ambushes, how they've shielded Traoré during immediate threats, and how they've stood firm even when everything seemed lost. You won't find these stories in the mainstream news or on official websites. They live in whispers, in the eyes of those who have seen these men in action. To the people, they're not just soldiers. They are the guardians of the nation's very spirit. Some people even say that this bodyguard unit is unlike any other in the world because they combine modern military tactics with traditional African warrior discipline. They're trained not just in advanced combat and security protocols, but they also carry a deep sense of ancestral pride, a fire that burns within them. And it's that fire that makes them seem almost unstoppable. When you watch footage of Ibrahim Traoré surrounded by his guards, there's a feeling of unity that you just can't fake. Every step, every glance, every small movement tells you there's an unspoken language between them. They trust each other with their lives. You can't manufacture that. It's earned through battle, through brotherhood, through countless moments where a single hesitation could mean death. It is hard not to feel a chill when you realize how many times these men have stood between life and death for their leader. They don't see themselves as heroes. They see themselves as protectors of something sacred, a future they believe in. And that's the kind of loyalty that moves people, that inspires an entire nation. In a time when so many leaders are distant from their people, hidden behind security walls and layers of politics, Traoré's closeness to his guards, and through them, to his people, feels incredibly refreshing. It reminds you of those old stories of warrior kings who fought side by side with their armies. That's the image Traoré projects. Not a politician, but a protector. Not a ruler above his men, but one of them. When you look at his bodyguards, you see a reflection of what Burkina Faso is trying to become. Strong, independent, and fearless. Every scar on their faces tells a story. Every glance, every motion says one thing clearly. They are ready for whatever comes. The outside world might see them as just soldiers, but for the people who understand, they are something much more profound. They are the living shield around a man who refuses to bow, who refuses to be controlled, who dares to dream of a free Africa. When you look at Ibrahim Traoré's bodyguards, you don't just see soldiers, you see living symbols of strength, loyalty, and African pride. Every movement they make, every glance they share, carries the weight of something far greater than just protection. These men stand tall not only for their leader, but for what he represents. Their discipline, their composure, and their silence speak volumes about the pride they carry inside. It's not the kind of pride that comes from uniforms or medals, but the kind that comes from knowing who you are and where you come from. They wear their history on their shoulders, the history of warriors, of resilience, of a continent that refuses to give up. Their loyalty isn't blind, it's built on respect and belief. They see in Traoré a reflection of their own spirit, fearless, determined, and unapologetically African. Watching them surround him, you can almost feel that shared heartbeat, that unspoken message to the world. Africa protects its own. Their strength is not just physical, it's emotional, cultural, and spiritual. It is the kind of strength that reminds you that true power doesn't come from weapons, it comes from unity, from pride, from believing in something worth defending. In a world full of chaos, betrayal, and political games, that kind of loyalty and unity feels almost unreal. But it's real. It's right there, walking beside Ibrahim Traoré every single day, guarding not just his life, but his vision for a continent rising again. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think about this unique bond of brotherhood? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. We'll see you in the next one.